All right, we're back once again, and 6-3 right now. I was getting a little nervous here for a little bit. Hey, how are you? Everybody's waving today. That's a friendly bunch here today. And why not? They're happy because the Sarnia Sting are winning
and
again.
It's a great family day, right? On a Sunday afternoon game. You get a lot of people just out with the family having a good time.
That's right. I wasn't making fun of your notes earlier. Like, she's modern. Show everybody now. She modernized. She had a clipboard earlier.
To iPhone. Right.
Whatever works, right? That's fine. All right, so what do the notes say? What are you seeing out there? Obviously, we're winning. Some things, I think we even worked a little harder at than we did in the last period.
You know what? It was funny because we ended our conversation after the first period talking about, what do you think the Frontenacs are talking about right now?
Right.
And they came out strong, and I think they caught us off guard. They came out stronger than we did. It was evident in the first 5 to 7 minutes. And also, I was talking about a lot of our defensive zone passes were hesitating too much, and they resulted in fumbles. And I think in the second play of the game, we had a face-off in our zone, and the first couple passes, fumble, and then we get this great stretch pass over to Josley, and he passes a beautiful saucer to McGregor, and he goes cross crease. Now, he didn't get that one in, and the play ended up resulting in a Frontenac's goal, but McGregor did get his revenge with a nice 5-hole. And there was actually, the keepers, they've now swapped out keepers in the Frontenacs, and each of them have let in a 5-hole goal, which, is good for us, but it's tough because you don't want to blame any of the goalies on the keepers, but the 5-hole is a hard one to say isn't having anything to do with the keeper because, if you've got your butterfly right and tight, it shouldn't happen. It's just tough when you're moving side to side.
And there was a bit of a tough one on Gaudreau there too. Who was it that got? I don't know. They shot it really hard at him, right? And then it was stopped, and then it just kind of went do.
Oh, for Gaudreau.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and that was a heartbreakeer because he made the first stop on that one.
And he wasn't happy about that by the way the puck came out of the Messi thing.
He has been having, honestly, I want to say an impeccable game. He made a bit of a blind save in the second period as well. He was kind of sprawled across the crease on the ice, and they worked the puck back to the Frontenac's defensive line, and he ripped a one-timer, and he honestly was in desperation just sliding across the crease, and he made it there in time.
He did.
And it looked great. He was
we used to call that in the 80s when I was in high school, we called that breakdancing.
It basically was. It basically was. Breakdancing in the crease for sure. But no, he's been having a good game. And score is a bit different than what we talked about last time, 3-1 to 6-3 after the second. But I think that the Sting still are making
was getting a little nervous there, but we're still smiling. And let's talk shot clock, though. Where are we up there? They're 28, we're 13. Typically, that kind of shot clock, the score would be the other way around.
And so that's why, you're wondering what exactly is not working for the Frontenacs, I think, at this point. Do you want to say it's the defense, or do you want to say it's the keeper? They've switched up keepers now. You never really want to blame the whole, you don't want to blame the keeper because there is so much pressure there. They are the last ones between everyone in the net.
There's a combination of things happening.
We've had some nice shots. Talking about stretch passes, and I was saying before that I think that our offensive zone passing has been very strong. And now we've seen 2 stretch passes from our defensive zone. The one that was just right taped to Roth, and he sniped it. What are you going to do about that, right?
Yeah, and that was a little nerve-wracking for about a minute and a half there, maybe, because that was under review. We had a clear perspective up there. Sometimes we talk to each other up there in the booth, and I was like, why is this under review? Because I missed that part, right?
And I'm sitting just about blue line level. And it actually, I thought it might have been a bit questionable, but they said it was a goal. I would have accepted it either way, to be honest.
Right.
And it's an interesting dynamic in this league. When you call a challenge and you're wrong, you don't have the resulting penalty. So there's really no hindrance or deterrent from challenging it.
Yeah,
right? So I would have done the same thing, I think, from the position
of
the Frontenacs coach.
It was fair to do, for sure. I just want to say hello to our friend Peter Frangus. Hello, Peter.
Hey.
He's normally here, and I don't know if you've noticed, but he's typically here, and we have a tradition. We always get selfies taken with him, right?
I've been in many of a Peter Frangus selfie, and you know what? I'm sorry, Peter, I wish you were here, because I'm in Section 106 tonight, but hi.
He says, hi, Mel and Dave, once again. I wish I was there, but my friend George is away, so I hope to see you guys at the next game on November 1st. All right.
Next time.
All right. Maybe we might have you back. We never know. I know you're a busy lady, right? So we're hoping to have you back.
I try and make it when I can.
Yeah.
The Frontenac's coach called his challenge. I think that was a smart play. He was very perturbed, we'll say. There was a massive...
That's a nice word.
Perturbed, yes. Hatcher with a huge hit at the blue line.
Yeah.
The Frontenac's coach definitely took offense to that. And I think he was calling for a review, or at least suspecting it was a headshot because the helmet of the other player came off. Did you think it was a headshot?
Like I say, I just happened to look it away, so that's why I had to ask somebody else even why. So I didn't really see it. But let's talk about those headshots. Obviously, we've experienced that in the Sarnia Sting.
Concussion protocol is a serious thing.
It's really, it comes from the top down, right? There's conversation, and it really, we saw a lot of it start last year.
And the resulting issues with a concussion come from the top down, quite literally.
Fair enough, right? I think sometimes people wonder, well, how do they make that decision, whether it's a 6-game or a 10-game or whatever, but we'll never know how that works. That's just a conversation, I guess, between certain people. But it's we've heard about it in football.
Sure.
We're really hearing about it strong in the hockey world now. I think we would expect it at an NHL level, right? But now this OHL it's the next step before that.
Right.
And
I think want to just have your preventative measures and make sure everyone's on the same page before some of these guys are going to go to that next and that highest level of play. Coming from the perspective, I did get concussed. I was hit from behind in my last year of playing.
Right.
I played minor hockey, whatever. It was midget AA at the time.
Right.
And it's tough, especially as an athlete, and you want to get back out there, and everything physically is saying, yes, you can do this. Once you start, you know that something's very off. And, we were talking earlier about these headphones just barely fit my head. I do have a very tiny head.
Oh, there we can hear you.
And I wear a massive helmet now for hockey because it has the extra padding for my concussion protocol. Once you've been concussed and you continue to play contact sports, you try to take all the precautions that you can. And I look ridiculous in the helmet that I wear, but I have to wear it.
I have a 4X helmet for my motorcycle.
Yeah, so you got a big noggin.
I do. We talked about. I'm 26 inches around. Anyway, there's a lot of brain power going on up there.
I guess. I wanted to mention one more thing. We were talking about maybe a headshot. I honestly, it didn't look to me like it was.
Okay.
I think it was just, these guys wear their buckets. They're not the tightest, right? And sometimes a bucket comes off, and it's not necessarily indicative of a headshot. But I did like the aggressiveness. I noticed that really physical games from Tabak and Hatcher, which I like to see. It's important to really ruffle the feathers.
Hatcher's really he knows how to hit.
Oh, he's a big guy.
But he knows how to do it and do it right.
My mom actually, she's in the stands, and
hi, Mom.
her term for it is that he's playing crazy. And I think what she means is he's playing aggressive, which is what I like to see in a hockey game. But my mom's not totally with the terminology.
Right. We knew what she meant. It's okay, Mom. We're not making fun of you. But let's talk. Okay, so we saw a fight earlier in the first period that come out there, and we talked about why did that need to happen. Danny Cuchamilio, who responded to that, he was agreeing with you there on the page that that can happen, but at the wrong time. But okay, so we the fans, we like to see a good fight in a hockey game.
Oh, for sure.
It's just part of that. And then we get pushing and pushing for more. And now we're talking about pulling the reins back a little bit maybe because these concussions are becoming regular, or these headshots are coming. They seem to be happening more often, don't they, at this level? Or is that just...
Well, a couple fisticuffs to the noggin can definitely cause a concussion as well.
Are we going to stop fighting in hockey?
It's a debate that will likely go on forever. Go on until they make a decision, some kind of decisive ruling one way or the other. There's going to be people who are happy on both sides, and there's going to be some really angry people who have grown to, recognize that fighting is just a part of hockey. Although I would say, the era of the enforcers is kind of behind us. And when you look to the NHL, the game is so much faster paced, and these guys are huge and strong and yet still fast, and you don't see fights nearly as much in competitive NHL hockey as you do in the OHL. And we talked a little bit about this earlier, and I think that's a little bit to do with the fact that they are less experienced and they're younger, and they have all these hormones.
Well, there was a time you could poke me in the arm and let's go, and now you could do it
outside, right?
I still got my limits, but my fuse is longer.
Right, exactly.
Right,
and that's something I think that they learn. Like, we were talking a little bit earlier as well about how for the Sting this is very much so maybe step 1 or step 2 in their rebuild.
Yeah.
And you have a vast age range of players in this league, 16 to 20, 21?
That's right, yep.
And, for the rookies and the younger players, the way that you approach the game at 16 versus 20 is going to be astronomically different, right? You when you're an older player, you've been around the block, right? You have that confidence. And, I mean, talking about a younger player with confidence right now would be Gaudreau. I would think he's having an awesome game. The pucks that he's getting to when he's covering them, and, I think everyone has great confidence in him. But, yeah, your approach to the game is going to be completely different over the course of your career in the OHL because there's just 16 and 20 is hugely different age-wise.
Totally, and that has an effect on the coaching staff well, and how they have to deal with the players, and they have to come in and re-encourage. And then when you start with a really, as our friendly Cunningham likes to say, he'd say the nucleus of this team is super young. Right. So the coaches have to adapt to that mindset as well. That affects them. And, it's just a whole lot of moving parts happening there on a hockey team for sure, right? Sure. But the moving parts seem to be working in favor of the Sarnia Sting right now, 6-3. The last 20 minutes, I always say, is the time. There's no room for error. This is it, right?
I would say last 10 minutes for sure, but I mean, you don't want to blow a 3-goal lead in the third. That's just nobody ever wants that to happen.
Well, the shot clock makes me a little nervous. I'm going to be honest, like we said about that. They're putting the shots in there,
and they came out strong.
So
last period, they kicked off those first 5 minutes with intense pressure on us, and you know what? They got a couple goals out of it.
They did. Well, let's see if the intense pressure works out for Frontenac's. But of course, we're going for the Sarnia Sting. We'll just say it, right? We can say that. It's okay. 6-3 right now, and we'll be live post-game talking to one of the players and coaches. You never know who we're going to get there, and hopefully we've got some positive results for you once again. Thanks for watching, everybody. For the show live on location, I'm David Burrows. Again, my friend Melissa. Thank you so much for joining me today.
We did the handshake. No one can see the handshake when we do that.
Go Sting, go. We'll talk to you soon.